What is up, my viewers? Time for another World of Tanks gameplay commentary. Let's increase that mini-map size there for you, and there we go. It is going to be a replay submission from Minnow, a person I haven't gotten a submission from in a good while, but a long-time viewer and subscriber. Many thanks to him for being such a loyal follower of my channel, and thanks to him for sending in this replay. It's going to be in his Type 59, which clearly has 2 marks of excellence, and if the battle would like to start any second now. There we go, and there it is. So it is going to be a standard battle on, what's this map called again? Himmelsdorf. I cannot believe I could not remember the name of the map. But it is going to be in its Type 59, and it's a premium vehicle you really don't see too often. You can't get it in the store, at least not on the US server. It's kind of a limited item. Although I do hear from the people who drive it, from the friends I have who own one, that it's really not too impressive of a vehicle. It's solid and reliable, but at the same time, it is not overpowered in any sense of the word from what they say. That being said, these are types of people who also disagree with me on other certain vehicles that I've driven. They'll say certain vehicles I drive are bad and certain vehicles I drive are good, where I'll feel opposite about those things. But let's not get too much into that now. He is currently in Calm clan. I do not believe that he certainly was not in that clan in the past, at least not in the last replay I've ever done from him, which was many videos ago. And it looks like he's going to the hill. Standard location for a medium tank to go. Not too many vehicles having gone to the 1-2 line. If you could not tell by looking at the vehicles per team, it is a tier 8 match. The enemy team looking like they have a little bit more of an advantage there. They certainly do now, having eliminated a tier 8 vehicle. That 50-100 getting knocked out very early in the match. That is a shame. Anytime you see a top tier vehicle getting eliminated as quickly as that. But he was eliminated, looks like, on that 2-line Echo 2. And by a lot of enemy vehicles having gone to the rails. Clearly none of them having gone to the hills, so the enemy team just giving that up right away, providing an ability to flank those enemy vehicles down the tank alley, down the 7 line from the rear end. The 3001D looking to see if he can get any shots from the ridge there, but clearly seeing nothing to his liking. And not very many enemy vehicles over here. It looks like they will be trying to shoot this enemy artillery, who will die very quickly. Minnow getting right in there, taking the shot, not even bothering to aim, nor would I in that sort of situation, and it's a 1-2 punch. The enemy already getting taken out very quickly. Still, the enemy team having a very early lead. This T-34 managing to take nothing but a critical hit. Very lucky for him. And it won't be much so for much longer. He's aiming for that rear cogwheel to ensure the track stays broken and to get some damage. And the T-34 is already gone. T-44 and an SU-100, ISU-152. I am strongly corrected there. The ISU-152 certainly not being anything worth to be taken lightly. There we go. Found my words. But right here, certainly, if you take notice of the teams right here, Minnow's team certainly does seem to have the better players, comparatively. The enemy team certainly looking like they're outskilled, and right now the tank count doesn't really reflect that, nor does the hit point count. Minnow's team having a huge hit point deficit here, almost 4,000 hit points worth of difference between the teams, even though the tank count is identical at this point. And Minnow trying to take easy shots at this AFKer. You never know when an AFKer is going to join the match, so it can help to eliminate them before they get the chance, but right now he's saying, wait, my help is needed elsewhere. I can't be wasting time on this IS. And he chooses instead to try and shoot this Indian Panzer using the husk of his dead Ferdinand ally for cover, which is always a wise decision. Firing through the gap right here for damage, taking nothing but ricochets from the enemy team, and continuing to try and hide his armor as best he can. You know, just take as little damage as possible, exposing only the slightest bit of his turret and firing between the dead husk of his ally. I don't even understand where he's shooting through right now. Just, it is definitely a, what's the word I'm looking for? Keyhole? No, that's certainly not it, but you get the intended effect. Enemy team still winning in tanks and hit points, although one of those vehicles is an AFKer, so I don't know how much can be attributed to that. Certainly, ooh, a nice fire explosion there from his ally, and he is currently on his own, trying to, again, abuse his turret armor, and does so to great effect. This enemy Indian Panther currently just struggling to stay alive, and the enemy Nashorn getting the first damage on Minnow of the entire game. Looks like Minnow's trying to aim for that turret hatch, the cupola, whatever you want to call it, and certainly just not getting any sort of luck with RNG right there. but the Indian Panzer will die moments before he takes his shot for it, and the Nashorn probably going to be the next victim here and the onslaught of Minno's team. Minno's team still losing, mind you. 9-11, hit point difference still favoring the enemy team, and this enemy IS-3 looking like he's coming up on a flank. Enemy KV-2 definitely trying to move into position, but friendly IS-3 managing to finally kill off that AFK IS, and then going for the KV-2. So the KV-2 certainly preoccupied at the moment, will not be flanking Minno at any point in time. This enemy IS-3 certainly a problem, considering he is, for one, he's actually a pretty terrible player, but he certainly seems to be having himself a good match, ignoring Minno. Clearly does not have XVM installed in the slightest. Prioritizing a KV-2 for some unknown reason. If he had XVM installed, he would know he needs to be killing Minno right now above anyone else on his team. I mean, just the stats speak for themselves. Let's look at those for a second. 79 out of 100, 50%, 57% win rate, 20k battles. I mean, that is a threat if I've ever seen one. Now, if I was Minno in this position, I would certainly be aiming in. I would not be using auto aim or third-person view or anything of the sort. He's just kind of going by the green of his reticle, which in this situation I would be completely zoomed in. Using his few remaining AP shells, he only has 5 remaining AP shells, 3 APCR, and 1 high explosive. Will it be enough to kill this enemy IS-3? Yes, it will. That enemy IS-3 finally going down. The tank count finally evening up, and the hit points being nearly identical. That Nashorn still alive somewhere, last spotted in that Gulf 3 region. The KV-13 certainly trying to take on an IS-3. That is not a favorable engagement, especially from the front. The KV-13 certainly has his work cut out from him, especially with Minno and this Type 59, still 384 health, kind of hurt, but the KV-13 certainly will have a hard time penetrating his armor, even especially considering he's not aiming for him. I know I've said especially a lot in the past few sentences, but whatever, especially. And now he's especially dead, right? No, a track shot for no damage. Minno's only got 2 AP shells, but it's of no consequence. The IS-3 killing that KV-13, and the KV-13 getting nothing but a track shot on Minno here. And both Minno and this IS-3 deciding, we're not gonna go for the capture. We could, but instead we're gonna go for the kill. The IS-3 already achieving top gun, doing a certainly good job of carrying this team. And Minno, with over 3,800 hit points of damage, also doing very well for himself. Only 2 kills, but it's not always about the kills. Sometimes it's about the damage. He might get himself Confederate, but let's go see that in the post-game stats. And do I know how to call it or what? Confederate medal right there. Steel wall even. Like I said, he was really abusing that turret armor early on, just exposing almost nothing but that until he got into the brawling situation with the IS-3, which, like I said, could have been done better. When you're in that close of an engagement, you really want to be aiming through your gun sight just to make sure your shots are going where you want them to. When you're up that close on an enemy vehicle, the camera likes to play tricks with you. You can't always aim where you want to shoot, and it can cause problems. And I think it did cause a little bit of problems for Minno there. Towards the end, he did finally aim through his gun sights, and that got him the kill shot, but he was still 1 shot away from death. I mean, the average damage of an IS-3 is 390, and he had 384 hit points, so the enemy IS-3 had a greater than 50% chance to kill him if he managed to get off 1 more shot for damage. Certainly not anything I would want to bargain with, and Minno probably could have eliminated him 1 or 2 shots sooner had he not been doing it from the third-person point of view. Still, very respectable. Getting shell-proof, of course, because he got steel wall. I mean, shell-proof almost goes hand in hand with steel wall, and fire for effect, of course, as well, considering. But Bruiser, that's a bit of surprise, but he did actually manage to do quite a bit of critical damage. Still, Mastery Badge First Class, very respectable. And I feel like I should mention, if I was paying attention to the game with the stats mod and everything, I would have been able to tell he had Confederate before I even went to the screen, so I clearly just was not paying enough attention. Still, team score. That IS-3 getting the most number of kills, but let's sort it by damage. Still, IS-3, most kills, most damage, definitely performing higher than his stats would have indicated. Very good game for him. I bet he was just ecstatic after that. Sometimes stats aren't always accurate. An accurate portrayal of how a person's going to perform in a match. Sometimes they are just on top of their game. They might have had a really rough start and they're just finally understanding how to play the game well. And so they might have red, orange, yellow stats, but their recent game stats might be green or blue. So you should not always go off of stats. I mean, I'm occasionally guilty of it ever since I started using mods with XVM. I will look at a player and say, he's got orange, he's got yellow stats. I'm not even going to pay much attention to him. And then he ends up doing well for himself and screwing me over. So I will be guilty of it myself, but just a word of caution, do as I say, not as I do sort of thing. Still, Minnow, very respectable, Steel Wall and Confederate, of course High Caliber and Top Gun going to that friendly IS-3. He certainly was not an enemy. Maybe an enemy in the sense that he was a rival, but certainly not in the sense that he was out to kill Minnow. Still, enemy team not doing too hot for themselves, although that enemy IS-6 certainly performing very well, just a little less than Minnow when it came to damage, but still very respectable. The enemy IS-3 doing not too bad for himself. The Indian Panzer certainly pulling his weight, but the enemy team just had too many people not doing enough, like that ISU, only one shot off for damage and getting a kill. But overall, very respectable. Wow, the Type 59, clearly a moneymaker. Look at that number. That is how much he would have made if he was running premium. I mean, really, that's how much he would have netted. But still, even without premium, made plenty of credits, certainly more than enough to buy whatever he needed for his garage at the time. Certainly a nice contributor to whatever tank he was going to buy next. But overall, 28 shots fired, 23 were direct hits, and only 20 were penetrations, but that's still more than enough damage. Definitely a little bit due to the player's assistance, not much though. And spotted, damaged, destroyed. I mean, but right there, that kind of tells the story. He blocked basically his amount of hit points, roughly, and damage blocked by armor. So he certainly would have been dead if it wasn't for that turret armor. Definitely a little bit of Tourette syndrome. Bad puns are bad. But I apologize for nothing. But even with that bad pun, remember, if you like this video, to click that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. If you got a replay, just check the description below for instructions on how to submit. Remember, after 9.4 and up, this is 9.4 in case you were wondering, I have become a little more scrutinous of my videos. Unless I feel like it's a good commentary, it will not be uploaded to my channel. I feel like this was a good enough commentary, so it will definitely be uploaded, but not all submissions will be uploaded like they were in the past, 9.3 and prior. So just be aware of that. I am still grateful to everyone who submits a replay. You guys provide me with tons of content, but if you have any suggestions on how I can make my content, videos, channel better, comment section below for that. Random stuff also for the comment section. But until next time, this has been Spang, and I am signing off.
MLG Dynamo.